Welcome back to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Sagan and 60. I want to introduce you to another fascinating company called The Fruit Cart, and its founder, Avi Weisman. I think there's a couple of interesting topics that we should be chatting about, the importance of fruit, how they get it to us fresh, how he started a company during the pandemic, and how he distributes right across the GTA. So Avi Weisman, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
So you were kind enough to send me some fruit. Why is fruit good for us to eat?
Listen, obviously we know the nutritional benefits of eating fruit, and including fruit in a daily diet. But we also want to be able to understand and educate our customers, not only on the importance of fruit, but how it gets to our table, right? So we obviously are all privileged in Toronto. We go to our grocery store, and for the most part, the shelves are full of fruit. But we need something. We just grab a bag of grapes, we grab some apples or oranges, whatever we need for ourselves and our family. But we also want to educate on the process on how that fruit gets to our table. It really is a process of love amongst a lot of farmers and a supply chain that is able to get us that fruit. And something that we have to realize how much work and effort goes into getting us that fresh fruit down to our tables every day.
I listened to a podcast yesterday about processed food and how damaging it can be, and it almost said that we're turning into processed people. I guess fruit is the opposite of that.
It is, and with the imperfections, right? And that's part of the education of our customers, right? So we aim to deliver the most premium fruit, the most unique varieties. But at the end of the day, this is still fruit that is grown out in nature, right? It's not produced in a factory. It's not processed, as you mentioned. Sometimes there'll be slight imperfections, but that's kind of that's what it is. It's as pure and unprocessed as it gets. And we've been lucky enough to go down and visit our farmers, visit our suppliers. We import during the winter time here in Canada when it's -20, -30 degrees, but we're still getting fresh grapes and fresh cherries and fresh peaches and nectarines. That stuff is imported, and so it's very important to establish relationships with the best farmers, with the best growers in all parts of the world in order to be able to get the best fruit delivered to you guys.
Now, why would someone want to buy from Fruit Cart rather than going to their local grocer?
So people can get fruit from wherever they feel comfortable. We also provide a lot of the stores, the independents, the chains. But the one differentiator between us and a lot of other companies is the fruit that comes in. We're located at the Ontario Food Terminal. Once the fruit comes in, it's automatically stored in optimal cold storage temperatures. It's packed and it's delivered right away in our refrigerated vans to our customers. So we don't have any of that situation where fruit sits on the shelves, where it sits in distribution centers, where it may sit on a truck for a day or two. Anytime you change the temperature of fruit, anytime you play with that, it adversely affects the integrity of the product. And so, we have a lot of chain stores, they have distribution centers, it goes out on the shelves. It's at room temperature for the full day. Whatever doesn't sell goes back into their storage and comes out the next day. Every time that supply chain shifts, every time anybody touches the fruit, anytime the temperature changes, it really adversely affects the fruit. So what we get is we get the fruit, it comes in fresh directly to the food terminal, we pack it into our boxes, and then it goes out in our refrigerated truck directly to our customer's front door. So there isn't any of that time frame where it's sitting on shelves. There isn't any of that time frame where it's sitting in a distribution center for a couple of days. There isn't any of that time frame where it's sitting in a truck for a couple of days. So that really adds to the integrity of the fruit, and it also adds to how long it'll store in your house or in your refrigerator, because it really is coming to you as fresh as can be.
So that's the big benefit, is that it's fresher. What about when it gets to the house? Have you got to get it inside and into the refrigerator right away?
Well, it really depends on what the product is, right? There's some fruit that can benefit for, sitting on a countertop for 24, 48 hours to just kind of finish that ripening process and softening up the fruit. So for example, peaches, nectarines, plums, apricots, those types of fruit typically can benefit for 24 to 48 hours, because often it's getting picked off the tree right before it's fully ripe. So you'll hear that term tree ripe, we are lucky in Ontario, for example, to be able to benefit from Niagara peaches in the summertime. Niagara peaches are some of the best peaches around. And the benefit is they get picked off the tree. They get picked what's called tree ripe, and you can eat them right away. A Niagara peach is going to be pretty soft right away, soft and juicy. When we're importing peaches from South America, when we're bringing peaches or nectarines or any of those fruit right now from California, they may benefit from like 24 hours, 48 hours outside the fridge. It just finishes that ripening process. It lets them soften up a little bit, get a bit juicier, get a little bit more sugar in them, a little bit sweeter, and so those can benefit. Other fruit you want to store right away in cold temperatures, grapes, for example. Right, you don't want to keep grapes out; they'll start to shrivel, as I'm sure you've seen if you keep them out on a countertop or out on a kitchen table. You keep those in the refrigerator; they're crispy, they're crunchy, they maintain that kind of greenish stem. And they don't start the shriveling process. So it really depends on the product.
I bought strawberries recently at a grocery store. They were moldy within like 48 hours. Was that?
Yeah, it depends on the season. Right now, strawberries, it's funny because you'll get them, they'll look nice, they just don't have the legs. And when we say that, they just, as you mentioned, they'll kind of start to fall apart within a couple of days. And it really just depends on the season. We are lucky enough, though, soon to be able to get these local Ontario strawberries. Those are very soft. They're very sweet, but they also don't necessarily have the legs. But strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, all those berries, they all benefit tremendously from being in the refrigerator. But at the same time, they're extremely sensitive fruit. So when you said you bought strawberries at your local store and they may have developed some mold, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not fresh. It could mean that they were damaged along the shipping process. Maybe one or two berries got crushed. And berries are really sensitive. So all it takes is a little bit of a crushed berry or wet berry, and then a temperature change, and it can quickly develop decay.
You were kind enough to send me quite a big brownish something or other that was almost the size of a watermelon. Was that a papaya or something?
I think so. We provided you with a selection of stuff. We did provide a papaya, I believe, but we also provided something called a hammy melon, I believe, which was it's a really interesting melon. And right now in the summer season, you get some really cool melons that come in. They're not, you may not see them at your grocery stores. We try to provide, the most unique stuff, the most different varieties. We're all obviously very familiar with cantaloupes, with watermelons, with honeydew, but in the summer, you get some really cool melons. So there's something called a hammy melon. There's something called a dino melon, which looks like a dinosaur egg from the outside. Something called a gallia melon. And they're all kind of variations. They're a little bit sweeter than a traditional cantaloupe or honeydew. The hammy melon looks like a cantaloupe on the inside. It's a little bit sweeter and it's a lot crunchier, which is a very interesting texture for a melon.
And where does the hammy melon come from?
This time of year, it comes from the southern U.S., from Arizona or from Texas.
Now, you started your company during the pandemic. Is that correct?
That is correct. So a very good friend of mine and myself, we started the Fruit Cart. We worked together at the food terminal. His family has owned a large business at the Ontario Food Terminal for over 60 years. It's a third-generation family business. And it's a wholesale business that supplies to the stores, to the chain stores, to the independents. And during the pandemic, especially in the beginning, when people were really scared to leave their house and there was a lot of uncertainty, they knew that we were sourcing the best fruit and the most premium fruit, and they asked us if we can bring them some product, because they were all quite nervous about leaving their house, and this was the time where everybody was wiping down
everything,
cans, and there was that level of uncertainty. So they asked us as favors if we can bring them some fruit, if they can buy fruit, and we said, you know what, we always had this idea that if you deliver to people premium fruit, the best varieties, the most unique varieties, stuff as I mentioned earlier, that isn't sitting on the shelves, isn't breaking down, we deliver that directly to people's doors. It could be something that could work out, and we figured this was the time to try it. We're getting asked about it, and so what we did is we just literally sent out an email to friends and family, and I think it was about our first order. We did about 50 boxes just to kind of see if we can handle that. That number, and now we're up to 1,000 boxes plus a week. And so it's been a nice little organic, excuse the pun, a nice little organic growth story from, 50 boxes from friends and family. Word has got out. It's a lot of referral business. And it really is rewarding. Like I got a call 2 days ago from a customer. I didn't know who she was. And, sometimes you get calls from customers, you get a little bit nervous and maybe a complaint, maybe something was off. And she mentioned to me, she's like, I don't know what plums were in the box this week, but they were the single best fruit that me and my family have ever eaten. And it was nice to get that call because it's nice, you obviously it's rewarding to supply people with really great fresh product, but it was also good because we spent a couple minutes talking about it where I mentioned to her, it actually was not a plum. It looks like a plum, but it's something called an aprium, which is a cross between an apricot and a plum. This one was something called a Bella Jewel aprium. It cuts really dark red inside. It's super, super dark and red and like a crimson color, and it's juicy and it's sweet and it's an awesome fruit and it's really, really different. It's very limited. You don't get them very often. But it was really nice for us to have that conversation because she enjoyed something that she's never enjoyed as much. But she also then got to learn a little bit about that product and a little bit about the fruit and something a little bit different. And it's a nice, rewarding experience.
Well, that's kind of interesting because when you were kind enough to send me the box, it had some fruits in it that I wouldn't have typically bought, and so it was interesting to actually sample some fruits that you wouldn't have typically. And I don't think I ever would have bought them if I had been at the grocery store. So, do you sort of have this special surprise business that you surprise people with what fruit they're going to get?
Yeah, obviously different seasons have different interesting items. And right now, during this time of year, it's just starting with some really cool different varieties of stone fruit. And so we really try to mix it up. So obviously people want their staples, right? We want to have some staples every week. Like we include bananas every week because people use them in their breakfast, in their smoothies. It's a staple variety that people typically use a lot, but we also include every single week something that's different, something that's unique, as you mentioned, something that you may have not purchased in the past, but now that you've experienced and you've tried it, you're going to say, you know what, I'd like to get that again. For example, we include, it's not in season right now, but in the winter, we include something called an Ori clementine. And we bring these in from Israel during that time of year. And it's a really big clementine. It's super, super sweet. It's like the best eating clementine. And, we get emails from our customers that said, my kids will only eat the Ori clementine. And so it's cool, right? Because as you mentioned, it's giving people stuff that they may have not had before, but once they have it, they start learning about each variety. They start appreciating the variety. And so whether they get it from us again in the future, or whether they stop into the grocery store to buy some milk and they see that variety out of the corner of their eye, it really is that educational process that people can start learning about the food that they eat. And it's very important to understand the food that we consume.
We're chatting tonight with Avi about the fruit cart. How does one sign up for your service?
So we have a website, thefruitcart.ca. You can also see us on Instagram at thefruitcart.ca. And basically, it is what we refer to as a subscription service, but you don't have to have a subscription. So you can get, most of our customers get it at a weekly frequency. So you can get it once a week, a box delivered to your front door, or you can order as a one-time box whenever you'd like. You can also gift a box. We do a lot of gifts for people. It's a nice, healthy, fresh gift. A lot of times, friends of yours have babies or are getting over an illness. It's a nice gift to provide to them. So you can sign up at the frequency that you would like. So weekly, bi-weekly, or you can just do it once, whenever you need it. And we deliver it. So we take orders until Monday night. We do our deliveries on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So like I mentioned earlier, it's as fresh as can be. And then you can also sign up and receive our either emails or check us on the Instagram, because what we do is every Sunday, we provide the list of ingredients or the contents that are going into the box that week. So as you mentioned, you may have not known what was in the box because we tried to kind of surprise and send you a box. But our customers will know what is in the contents of the box because we'll send out that list each week. So
every box is the same for all of Toronto.
So every box is the same. We use our kind of expertise to put in what we feel is the best quality in the market that week, the most unique varieties that week, the freshest varieties that week, and we kind of customize that. Obviously, if anyone has an allergy or a sensitivity, we do our best to accommodate that as well.
And if it's going to sit at my front door for a couple of hours on Thursday till I get home, not an issue?
Yeah, it really depends on the season. Obviously, we send out a text message to the customers, an automated message every day that they're going to receive delivery, and so it gives them a delivery window of time. So that way, you try to kind of work it out at a time where the customer, it's not sitting too long. It can sit out there for, as you mentioned, an hour or two. But in the summertime, unfortunately, you start getting the squirrels and some of the other guys that may want to come out there and sample your fruit before you do. So we typically don't want it to sit outside for too long. But yeah, we definitely try to work with our customers to provide a window of time where they are going to be home, or it's not going to sit out there for too long.
We're going to take a break for some messages and come back with some concluding comments in just 2 minutes. Stay with us, everybody. This is interesting. Welcome back, everyone, to the Brian Crombie Radio Hour on Saga 960. I had an opportunity last week to sample some fruit from the fruit cart, and so I thought I was really quite impressed, and so I thought I'd introduce you tonight to Avi Weisman, who is the founder of the fruit cart, and it's an organization here in Toronto that delivers right to your door on Wednesdays and Thursdays fresh fruit. Avi, I was interested. We've heard lots of comments about supply chain issues and issues like that. Do you have exclusive relationships or different relationships? How have you been able to manage these supply chain issues that everyone seems to be talking about?
Yeah, so obviously during the pandemic, a lot of companies, suffered from supply chain issues. You saw shelves at stores that were empty, and there was a lot of supply chain and logistical issues. We were lucky enough. So we have, as we mentioned, we have exclusive relationships with some of the best growers, some of the best farmers all over the world. So we are able to control that supply chain. We also have all of our own vans at the Ontario Food Terminal. So once the stuff comes in, we're able to control that supply chain, and we're able to pack it directly at the food terminal, store it there, and we ship it out ourselves. So one of the things that we were most proud about, actually, is that we never missed one delivery during the pandemic or since then. So whether it was supply chain issues that companies were dealing with, whether it was weather-related issues, whether it was labor and staffing issues, because that was another issue that a lot of companies had to deal with. One of the things that we're most proud of, it's not just the quality of the fruit, but it's also that we have not missed any deliveries. We've consistently been able to supply the fruit to our customers, and we're able to overcome a lot of the challenges that a lot of other companies had because we were able to control that supply chain as well.
You get to go visit some of these exclusive suppliers that you've got relationships with?
Yeah, it's been awesome.
That'd be kind of fun.
We went down to Chile and to Peru several years ago, right before the pandemic actually started. So we were able to travel there, and it's awesome. It really is really cool to see the operations at these farms. So you get to see kind of the blood, sweat, and tears, and the love that a lot of the farmers have for their crop, and a lot of the work and the effort that goes into getting that fruit over to us on our table. And it really is an awesome experience to see the different varieties, to learn about the varieties, to meet the people behind the growing of the varieties. We are planning a trip to Israel in the summer to meet with our growers of the clementines and the mangoes. And like I said, it really is awesome to kind of meet these folks and to see them and to kind of establish these relationships with them. And it also is beneficial for us to be present at the Ontario Food Terminal, because we're there and we see the stuff come in. So if something comes in that we may not have an exclusive in, but we see it and it looks fresh and it looks premium and it's different, we're able to to kind of jump on that quickly as well. So that's definitely a benefit for us to be there at the food terminal.
I'm off to Israel in a week. What's the clementine I should ask to eat?
So it's called an Ori clementine. Right now, it's just at the tail end, so you may not see them around, but they're getting mangoes in Israel. They have grapes. The the quality of the produce in Israel and the agriculture infrastructure in Israel is really something awesome. I was there last summer meeting. We're hopefully hoping to go back this summer. They really do an amazing job with their agriculture there.
Really, I guess I never even thought of agriculture in Israel. Are there other interesting fruits that you want to mention to us, or recipes of what to do with fruits that you'd like to talk about?
Sure. So, this time of year, as I mentioned, you're getting some really amazing stone fruit, cherries, peaches, white peaches, nectarines, white nectarines. So you're getting, a lot of different, really vibrant colors, which is awesome. You can put these out if you're have company over. We're getting to Canada Day. Or in the summer, you're entertaining. It really is really nice and colorful to put out kind of a bowl of stone fruit, a bowl of cherries. For me, the cherry is my favorite fruit. A nice, dark, crunchy, crispy cherry in the summertime, to me, you can't beat it. But you can also get really creative with cherries, right? You can make cocktails with cherries. You can make mocktails if you don't want to include alcohol in cherry with cherry. So what you do is you take some cherries, you take the pits out, you crush them or you muddle them, and you add them to the bottom of the cup with ice. You put in, if you want to make a cocktail, you can use some vodka or some gin with some tonic water or soda, and you can make like a muddled cherry gin and tonic. And you get that nice color in there, you get the freshness of the cherries, but you're able to enjoy a refreshing cocktail or mocktail in the summer.
Muddled cherry gin and tonic. I'm going to try it today. Sounds fantastic.
Yeah, with peaches or nectarines, what you can do in the summertime as well is you can grill a peach. I don't know if you've ever done that, but when you grill a peach on kind of medium to high heat on your barbecue, it brings out the sugars. So you get the grill marks, it brings out the sugars and the sweetness of the peach. You can kind of cut them in half, take the pit out, throw them on the grill, just kind of flesh side down for a couple minutes. And then once you get that nice grill marks and kind of caramelize a little bit, it brings out the sugars. Throw on a scoop of vanilla ice cream, drizzle it with a little bit of honey, a pinch of sea salt, got yourself an awesome dessert. The one thing that we also recognize is kids are the absolute best judges of fruit. So I'm lucky enough, I have 3 kids. What we do very often is I'll bring the fruit home to the kids, and I'll tell them, try this new variety, tell me what you think. And kids really, as they say that they have no filter. If something is really good and something is really sweet, kids will love it and they'll eat it and they'll enjoy it and you'll get the thumbs up. If something isn't good and it's not sweet, and parents will tell you that all the time. They'll get the kids' lunchbox come home from school. If something was good, the kids eat it. If the fruit was not good, it comes back in the same Ziploc bag that it went in on. So kids really are the best gauges of fruit. If something is good and something is sweet, they'll enjoy it, and if it's not, they won't.
Avi, how are your prices?
So we try to be extremely competitive. So obviously, we really focus on the premium fruit. And so it's very premium, it's very high-end fruit, but we really try to make it accessible to everyone. And right now, we actually got feedback that customers, we've never raised our prices since we launched the company. Even with these inflationary times, we feel it's very important to have the fruit accessible to our customers, to grow our customer base. So we do, as we mentioned, the fruit box. The fruit box is $56.50. It typically lasts a family of 4 for about a week. That includes delivery. We help subsidizing the delivery. We also do veggie boxes. So a vegetable box is $40. And we also do what we call a half and half box. Half and half box is half fruit, half vegetables, and that's $60. So we really try to have our prices competitive. As I mentioned, we have not raised our prices at all. And we really want to provide premium fruit at accessible prices for everybody to be able to enjoy.
Have you remind us of the website that we should go to?
The website is thefruitcart.ca.
Well, I got to tell you, I enjoyed the box that you sent me. I really appreciate it. And I had this melon that I've never heard before. And so it was really quite yummy and I appreciate it. But you're right. The cherries were spectacular. I just kept on munching them all day long. I got to ask you one final question. I have a friend who's a raw veggie and they did watermelon for like a whole week. Is that like, could you actually eat watermelon nonstop for a whole week?
The thing with watermelon is that obviously it's full of water, so you could eat you'll feel bloated, I think, but it's really you could enjoy it for a week, and you can also mix it up, right? Because you can juice a watermelon, And watermelon juice is actually really, really good. It's sweet. You can add it to to other juices. You can even add it to smoothie instead of adding kind of honey or sugar. It adds a little bit of sweetness there. Watermelon is an amazing summer fruit. You definitely can't go wrong with watermelon. If you eat it all the time for a week, maybe a little bit excessive, but it really is a great fruit.
Avi Weisman, the Fruit Cart. Thanks so much for joining us.
Pleasure for being here. Thank you for having us.
That's our show for tonight, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I remind you, I'm on every Monday through Friday at 6 o'clock on 960 AM. You can stream me online at www.saga960am.ca. All my podcasts and videocasts are available on my website, briancrombie.com. The podcasts are on SoundCloud and Speakeasy and Audible and Apple. And the videos are on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and on YouTube. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Good night.